It was Christmas Eve, and everyone was gathered around the table laughing, exchanging gifts, and enjoying the warmth of the holiday spirit. Suddenly, in the middle of the joyful noise, my wife stood up, and with a calm but serious look, she handed me an envelope. I thought it was a gift, something special, but as soon as I opened it, my heart dropped. Inside it was divorce papers. Before I could say anything, the entire family around us started clapping and cheering like they were celebrating a victory, not a break up. The room that was filled with laughter a second ago turned cold and silent. I couldn't believe what was happening. My wife was divorcing me on Christmas Day, and her family was happy about it. But why would they celebrate such a thing? The question burned in my mind, and the answer was waiting for me in a story that would soon unfold and shock me to my core. If you are new here, take a second to subscribe and help us reach our goal, because this story is going to blow your mind, and you want to hear every detail. So stay tuned and listen closely, because what happened next changed everything. I met Sarah 7 years ago. We were young, hopeful, and deeply in love back then. Everything seemed perfect. Our life together was simple, but filled with moments that made me believe she was the woman I would spend my life with. For a long time, we built routines, shared dreams, and faced small challenges. But recently, things started to change slowly. At first, I thought it was just stress from work or fatigue. But looking back now, I realize I was ignoring signs that were screaming at me. She became distant, less affectionate, and started spending more time away from home. She told me it was just temporary, that she needed space, but that space only grew wider and colder, and still I held on, hoping it was a phase that we could get through together. I never imagined that the cold distance was actually a wall being built between us, one that would soon separate our lives forever. As Christmas approached, I wanted to believe everything would be fine, that we would celebrate together, but I was about to learn how wrong I was. The night of Christmas dinner arrived, and I showed up at Sarah's family house feeling hopeful, but also a little uneasy. When I walked in, I noticed something strange. The air was different, the smiles on their faces too wide, too forced, and their eyes kept darting at each other, like they were hiding something. The room was filled with laughter, but it felt fake, as if everyone was acting a part. Even Sarah seemed different, more confident, colder, like she was prepared for something I didn't know yet. The table was beautifully set, but the atmosphere was tense. I tried to shake off the feeling and focus on the family moments, the usual stories, the jokes, the clinking of glasses, but deep down I sensed this night wouldn't be like any other. Suddenly, in the middle of the dinner, Sarah stood up and asked for everyone's attention. She spoke in a voice clear and firm. Then she reached into her coat pocket and pulled out an envelope. She walked right up to me and handed it over. Everyone in the room fell silent. Except then a strange noise started to rise, a mix of murmurs and then applause. It was the kind of celebration you'd expect for a promotion or a victory, not for a breakup. Confusion and disbelief hit me like a wave. What was going on? Why would her family celebrate this moment? It was then that I realized this was no ordinary Christmas. This was a carefully planned moment, and I was the last to know, the beginning of a story I never asked to be part of, but one I was trapped in. I opened the envelope with trembling hands, expecting maybe a note, a letter, a goodbye, but what I saw were divorce papers, clear, cold, and official. The reality hit me harder than I could imagine. My wife was ending our marriage right there in front of everyone, and the family's reaction was shocking. They started clapping, cheering like they had won some battle. It was humiliating, confusing, and painful all at once. I looked at Sarah, hoping for some explanation, for even a trace of regret, but her eyes were empty. She said it was planned for months, that this day was chosen carefully because it would hurt me the most and send a message to everyone. She told me they had all agreed it was better this way, that I was an obstacle to her happiness, that they were finally free from me. The room seemed to close in around me as I tried to process the betrayal that was unfolding. The people I trusted, the woman I loved, had turned their joy into my suffering, and it felt like the worst kind of nightmare. From that moment on, I knew nothing would ever be the same, and the real story was just beginning. I looked at Sarah and asked why now, why this way, and she didn't hesitate to tell me the truth. She said she was in love with someone else, someone I knew very well, someone I trusted, my best friend, my wedding godfather, the man who was like a brother to me, the same man who had been in our home, shared meals, laughed with us, and pretended to care. But behind my back, he was building a secret with my wife. The family already knew all of it. They had been hiding it from me to keep the plan perfect, to keep me blind and humiliated. She said they wanted to break me and start fresh without any ties, and the betrayal cut deeper than any pain I had felt before. I realized that everything around me was a lie. The smiles, the celebrations, the false warmth, they were all part of a scheme that I was too naive to see. And in that moment, I felt completely alone, abandoned, and devastated. But the worst was yet to come. Sarah's voice was cold when she dropped the next bombshell. She told me she was pregnant, the child wasn't mine, but her lover's, the best friends, and she was ready to start her new life free and unburdened. No more lies, no more pretending. I sat there speechless, feeling like the ground beneath me was crumbling. The room spun around, and all the noise became distant for a moment. It was just me, and the unbearable truth that everything I thought I had was slipping away. She said she wanted to move on, and that this pregnancy was the final proof that our marriage was over. She didn't ask for my opinion or show any sign of regret. It was like a verdict handed down with absolute certainty, and I realized then that I had lost not only my wife, but also my family, my friends, and my trust all at once. Christmas was no longer a celebration, it was a funeral for the life I thought I knew, and I wondered how I would ever pick up the pieces. Subscribe to the channel to see part 2 of this story.